Hello everyone, I'm Raifu, and I've dedicated over 2,500 polls of Thaemine Gate 4 to teaching people. To understand not only the importance of this raid, but also the weight it carries, let's walk some of you through his role in the history of Lost Ark and what it meant for the community as well. Thaemine is the Darkness Legion commander, the last Legion commander under the rule of Khazros we had yet to defeat at that point in the game. He is considered the strongest of them all. To give you guys more perspective on his destructive power, every time he's been shown, he has completely obliterated our allied armies with little to no effort, using something I could only describe as a mic drop sword attack without even uncrossing his arms. Before the main antagonist of Lost Ark, Khazros, took control of half of Petronia, the world where demons inhabit, Thaemine had already, through sheer power alone, conquered the other half of it. Learning of these achievements, Belshazzar, the Phantom Legion commander, Khazros' second in command, offered a deal to Thaemine. He would serve under Khazros and receive a reward of some kind. Since they spoke a different language, it's impossible to say exactly what was offered, but this deal transformed Thaemine from his original form of ash and mist into the swordsman we know today. He poses a threat like no other to even any of the Sidereals, the heroes of our world. He's able to overpower almost any of them in a one-on-one battle, but is shown to have an even fight against the final Sidereal Kadon, who many joke is the real protagonist of Lost Ark. The two share a striking resemblance, hinting at a common origin that has yet to be shown or explained. There's some theories, but to give you guys the TLDR, they are either the halves of the soul of Zosma, the god of chaos, who fought and lost to Khazros, or they are both from the same race of extremely good fighters that was believed to be extinct as punishment from Regulus, the god of order who created our world. These were the only ways the community found to even explain why these two are so powerful. He was first introduced at the launch of the game in the Western version, appearing in one of the main quests at the Saintone continent. Almost 2 years later, we would finally clash against him. His introduction and raid remains as the only one in the game with exceptionally high quality, likely high budget animation accompanying it. We knew this was going to be a challenge. The developers told us this was going to be the most difficult raid they had ever created, and it definitely showed. The raid was composed of 4 gates, which are essentially each a boss fight and a checkpoint of the whole raid. In gates 1 and 2, we faced off against his most loyal demons. In gate 3, we fought Thaemine while he was still not serious about it. But in gate 4, that was the one where we faced him at full strength, and boy, these devs were not joking. This was a challenge like no other in the game, and many considered him the final enemy standing between us and Khazros himself. This was going to be the end of the Legion commander as raid bosses. We were moving from 2 years of defeating Khazros' underlings to going to battle the last one. After Thaemine, something was going to change big time. Lore-wise, we knew about the prophecy of the Red Moon, which also hinted something big was going to happen in our clash with Thaemine, since when Thaemine appeared, the Red Moon also towered over Luthera. So the community was anxious, eager, hyped, all at the same time. We always knew which were our enemies remaining before Khazros, but now we thought after this, we were gonna finally go for Khazros' throat. Expectations and fears were at an all-time high. Teams were being formed to get their first clear. We were gonna rise to his challenge. Every player wanted to defeat him and earn his titles. Thaemine, the Darkness Legion commander, the conqueror of stars. We were Ahab, and he was our whale. Now I believe we can properly begin. My prog took exactly 740 pulls, reaching 4-2 the second half of the fight, a total of 52 times. It was about 4 weeks of progging from Saturday until reset day, always in full pug groups, on 1630 and pre-tier 4. I finally cleared thanks to 2 absolute Giga Chads, Siva and Ice Dragon, who were in my chat at that time. They were re-clears but joined my group anyway. And I cleared alive and kicking. My Eclipse Clear, which is the original and unnerfed version of the raid, was available for a limited time, took 115 pulls and only 5 4-2 attempts. By the time I finally cleared, it felt like a whole building had been lifted off from my shoulders. At this point, I was already very stressed out and seriously doubting if I was even capable of doing this. So before you ask, yes, the moment I finally cleared, you might have seen on the melts, I was actually ugly crying in my chair. It was one of the best experiences I ever had gaming, especially in an MMORPG. I had so many people watching the journey, celebrating in chat, helping me throughout it, and just genuinely happy for me. It even got me a very special feature on the Lost Ark melts. This will probably be one of those things that in years from now, I look back on as a very fond memory. We all have that one game, that one moment where a game really, and I mean really, cements itself in our memories forever. It might seem silly, it's just a game, right? But for me, at that moment, it was so much more. Seeing people celebrate, watching my friends from NAW stop their Gate 4 static just to watch my Eclipse clear, even after getting yelled at by their static lead, that moment will live rent-free in my mind forever. I completely understand Captain Jack's team crying on that world first. All of the positive energy in chat, all of the support, the cheers, all of it. I will treasure it. This is just a thank you to everyone who was there, even those who weren't, but who still make this game great. Also, a shout out to some amazing streamers who supported my channel and helped me bring this video to life. Nemifuu,
We're going the wrong way. This means this is the wrong way.
Skillsy,
Nemi!
J-Ra,
Isn't this the generator? Hello? Oh.
Loonies, Ogu, Meoowstical, and Saint. This is a passion project, and while the state of the game isn't as amazing as we wish, it's still that one game for me. I'll probably be playing it for a long time, because it holds so many of my friendships. It gave me something amazing to do every day, and introduced me to so many crazy, fun, and awesome people. It's funny to think I ended up choosing a grindy KMMO for all of this, but I didn't choose this journey, it just happened. And I'm enjoying it a lot. This isn't meant to be a video glazing the game, it's just the ramblings of a madman who's enjoying the experience given. After I was done with my journey, I wanted to help others start their journey. I wanted to see people make their own fun memories, have their friends cheer them on, and see their perspective on the game change kinda like mine did. I wanted them to experience even a tenth of the emotions I felt when I cleared. So I started doing it. It began as a small operation, dragging in friends first, some of whom were actually interested in it, but then it kinda escalated. I was running classrooms on 4 out of my 6 gold earning characters. Sometimes from Friday all the way to Tuesday, helping anyone I could. If they needed class advice and I wasn't even confident on that class, I directed to people who I knew were absolute gigachads on them. Eventually, I became somewhat known as the Gate 4 teacher, and even other streamers reached out to get their prog going. It made me so happy to be able to give back even a tiny bit of love and support that I received during my own prog. To those of you who reached your clear, I hope it was fun for you as it was for me. Week by week, I was accepting Mokokos and pugs, walking them throughout the multitude of patterns, dangerous mechanics, and common death causes, doing callouts, helping them greed damage, teaching them the ethical stuff, the unethical stuff, and the unwritten rules of Gate 4. Dig, really good pattern, keep hitting. It's gonna last 4 seconds. This is the long one. After the full tier 4 release and hyper awakenings and T skills, everybody got a huge power boost. but I wasn't letting the Mokokos skip some of the mechs. I was giving them the full experience of the gate. They had to do X87 and X60 mechanics and survive the crit phase from X60 to 0. If they managed to do this flawlessly once, we went for the skips and I would teach them like how to do it, how to execute it. We had some arrogant people who immediately felt entitled to skipping because they were good enough, and I had to deal with them with fast and some very simple questions. Can you survive an Orianna on small stage from 280 to 240? Can you identify and dodge a Lorio? Can you dodge a shoulder charge? Usually they either quit or stayed silent after that. I don't know why people join a teaching lobby just to feel entitled to some stuff, and for a skip mechanic that wasn't even fully reliable as soon as tier 4 started. But unfortunately, it happened, and not only to me, but other great teachers like Kogu also experienced it. That aside, it was extremely fun for me and also fully cemented my experience in Gate 4. I had to teach people, do proper callouts, communicate mechanics, support, do enough damage, warn about upcoming mechs. I learned fast that I couldn't overload people with information. I had to go slow but steady. At first, I was walking them through everything that was gonna happen, but as I learned more about teaching very hard and extensive rate, I developed a new approach. Just throw your head at it. This way, I could split up the information more, let them experience the mechanics, wipe to it, and then with that visual and mechanical feedback, explain what was going on, set mock positions, and break things down slowly for them. This made a huge difference in learning speeds and even progression speeds. But Thaemine is a hell of a raid, and Gate 4 has a ton of patterns. Even groups that were progressing through some mechs, there were still so many dangerous patterns showing them Thaemine was no joke. Co-op counters were constantly humbling people, Orianna showing them the power of gravity, Lorio was straight up backhanding people to their deaths, Backstab Earthquake, deleting squishy classes and showing supports why cleanses were crucial. The casual 315 deaths to swords or identity counter failures. Through all of that, they persevered and were doing enough damage to see the later phases of the fight. X87 Max showed why class balance was important. Classes with bad counters were struggling to hit their swords. Classes with dashes were missing their counters due to movement. Rest in peace, gunslingers. After a couple polls, most groups would make it through. X60 usually took 1 to 3 polls. Almost always someone had a non-splendid sacred at the very first one, which cost us 1. But after those were corrected, everything went smoothly. But X60 to 0, if you proc that on item level, you already know how crazy that phase is. Even at 60-40 is still wild. 1 crit, dead. 1 Lorio, 2 crits, dead. A few puddles during dig, dead. Identity starts and thunders are falling and you don't dodge them, you're also dead. Supports had to sweat here. The difference between good support care versus none was literally life and death. Thaemine is the one boss in Lost Ark who has the ability to crit, which is insane. I guess thank Vertical God, but they finally made it to 4-2. And then the biggest shock and also the next challenge came. 4-2. To my surprise, a lot of players didn't even know that 4-2 wasn't a checkpoint, so it was a complete shock to them. They were scared. Unlike any other raid in Lost Ark where we have a basement phase, which usually features enhanced patterns, not 4-2. Thaemine is just that guy. He's just him.
They must have amnesia. They forgot that I'm him.
4-2 is a whole different beast. After 8 to 12 minutes of a grueling 4-1 phase, you suddenly have to face a completely different enemy. Slower but deadlier patterns. And then there's the absolute insane mechanic, which, by the way, we still haven't solved globally. Domain expansion. And a very unique mech called Black Hole. Your HP is gonna be set to 1, and the only thing standing between you and certain death is a support awakening and your knowledge. This part is a nightmare. Shit got real fast. Thaemine was not joking around. Any mistake, any extra damage stacks, any lucky crit Thaemine landed, all had the potential to just drop a DPS. Earthquake once, Earthquake twice. I think Nemi is dead. Yep. Supports who progged 4-1 at 1630 were now having flashbacks of protecting their DPSs from max 60 to 0. Except this time, it was for 10 minutes straight. They could not slip up because they were the only thing standing between a DPS making a mistake and their immediate death. Now imagine doing all this with players who maybe just started their journey in Lost Ark. That was my shit. I was home. The groups making through it faster were the ones where support were at the top of their game. They weren't messing up, they weren't getting caught, they weren't dying. One could say their job was to live, but they were doing way more than that. And so, groups managed to survive through all of this and make it through the only HP bar based mech in 4-2. The 215 bars staggered. And people were catching hands. I mean, literally. Those hands have such an insane hitbox and were victimizing so many groups. I actually made a channel in my Discord, which later became a compendium of GIFs and clips, either of me or some other friends handling almost all, if not all, dangerous patterns on the entire gate. Eventually, the groups locked in, and we got the famous 215 with no deaths. Oh, by the way, we were always skipping the stagger. Most groups in Party Finder were skipping it, and I was training the Smokokos to kind of survive on the wild, so I was just going with the standard. The groups got the 215 no deaths, and that was when things got wild. People started going XDD shaking. The sweat started pouring from their hands, and eventually the deaths started happening. Thaemine reminded them once again, gravity is the biggest enemy in Lost Ark. If we lost 2 people, we could still keep going, but at 3 deaths, I would either stop DPSing or just reset. I didn't want these people to get accused of being bussed or getting carried. I was just there as a teacher and as someone who would hopefully not mess up. I did. One missed spinning Rammus DPS dead. Sharks were collecting lives. Yellow patterns were sending people to their deaths. Drag pattern was out of bounding all DPSs. Even simpler patterns like painting was scary. Petrified patterns were victimizing groups for not staying close together and not respecting Thaemine's rules of engagement. Any weakness was punished heavily. And supports, they could not, for any reason, die. But eventually, the groups phased through this part and reached 4-3, the Eclipse stage. Now this part happens 16 to 24 minutes into the fight, depending on how much DPS groups had in the previous phases. This is Thaemine's basement, and despite the calm music, Mokokos were not welcome here. This is really a basement phase we're more used to in Lost Ark, but there's some changes. You cannot see his HP bars, you only have an eclipsing moon or the duration of his theme song to gauge how much time you have until he enrages and kills everyone in a very sick animation. Thaemine still has the same patterns as in 4.2, but some are heavily enhanced and even more dangerous. But they were trained, they knew what to do, they have been in this prog for 4 days, 5 days, weeks, maybe even months for some people. It was grueling, but after so many pulls, so many deaths, and some absolute bullshit combos like Black Hole plus Red Screen Earthquake, they were dwindling his HP and slowly progressing more and more. And then Great Clash finally came around. This is a big push. Damage on everybody goes absolutely crazy. It's a lot of time that Thaemine is on that clash with Kadon, and everybody does bonus damage during 4-3, so it's big numbers time. Comms were clean and smooth. You throw dark, careful Ramus, painting pattern, earthquakes, splendids, backflip, domain starting, Atakadon coming back soon. You could hear the excitement rising as they got eager and eager to see zeros and Thaemine finally staggering. You could hear the shakes, you could hear the keyboards being mashed to get that one extra skill in as everyone, even me, was completely locked in. I could not mess up now. With their clear on the line, I could not be the reason my students didn't clear. And through sheer hard work, these Mokokos finally finished their journey.
We did it! Oh my god! Yeah.
It was time to enjoy and celebrate and watch that extremely fucking long cutscene. That was it. Their journey was complete. Their mission accomplished, their goal finished. For some, this was the last thing they wanted to do in Lost Ark. That saddens me a bit, since it's a goodbye. But that's just part of a grindy KMMO. I've let a lot of friends and guildies go. For others, Thaemine was just another check mark within the game that they wanted to do, so there's more journeys ahead. For some, that was the moment. And I was lucky enough to witness it, to be part of it, and to help them through it. I don't know if I helped as many people as I could. I don't know if I was polite throughout all of it. Heck, I might have even been toxic during my own prog or those actions, and to those people, I am terribly sorry. But if I helped you, I hope it was a fun experience. If you can look back and think fondly of it, that's all I could ask for. And if it was just another game for you, then at least I helped you accomplish that. If you joined my rooms, if you joined my progs, or just watched it, I hope it was good content as well. To this day, I still get screenshots from people of their clears, of their eclipses, of their cause. Just 3 days ago, from me writing this, someone DM'd me saying they finally got their Conqueror of Stars title thanks to their classrooms. Lost Ark needs your help to be a better game. Yes, you. Don't bust that Mokoko. Give them a helping hand, walk them through this game if you can afford the time, obviously. Accept that guilty, show him the ropes of Lost Ark. It can bring you a smile as well, I promise. You, streamer, who sometimes receives questions, don't exclamation this, exclamation that, automate everything. Respond to those questions, if possible, individually, and it will surely help the Mokoko feel just a little bit more welcomed into this community. If someone like Saint took the time to answer my dumbass questions when I was trying Scouter, you can as well. And you, who wish to try this game, I know for a fact you can enjoy this game. Maybe it's not for you, but it's worth the shot. For the quality of the raids and even the people around it, in my experience, it is worth the shot. I hope the game and the overall direction of it goes to a better place. I've played this game since the release globally on South America and now on the NA East server, and I've seen this game improve heavily. Sure, change does come late, but it always comes. It has always happened. It's always getting better. I think we have good people working on it, and at least in the global release, we know 2 of them that are heavy gamers. I'm looking at you, Rox and Harry. Now, it's in their hands to bring the changes we need, and up to Smilegate to correct the mistakes they already done. Maybe I'll talk about this on another opportunity. For now, let's just end it here on kind of a positive note. That's all for me. See you in-game or on Twitch. Raifu out. Oh, and to that one guy whose first words to me were, "Who are you and what have you done to the community?" Man, to be honest with you, I'm just a nobody. But what have I done? Well, this is what I've done. And what I'll keep doing. Move away. Engage. Think we faced, yeah. Don't look. Be careful with the sights. They're gonna give you a debuff. You cannot heal while you have the debuff. Wait until she does it and then you move. It's gonna be staggered. Nemi, be careful. You're on the... Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, you have to keep yourself in that position. He fucking G. The actual fucking last one.